Why, hello there, Awesome Soul here, and welcome back to a bit of a Twitter roundup video, something that hasn't really been a thing for a while. Their Twitter accounts, of course I'm talking about the Free Jam Twitter accounts, have been fairly quiet for the past little while, not really tweeting out anything super newsworthy. But now, all of a sudden, it's just a decent flood of rather interesting tweets. And obviously, me being the news, well, I do more than just news, but in this case, the news channel that I will go ahead and look through all of them. First off, I figured I would start out with what Rick has to say. Obviously, he is the lead art director on the team, so you can expect things like maps and images and all that sort of fun stuff. He says here, "We've been working hard on the new Robocraft Battle Arena maps. They are finished, they look amazing, plus new gameplay layout. Tease images coming soon." Obviously, he had to cut things down because Twitter has that pesky character limit, but we can gather a decent chunk of information out of this. So obviously, all the maps are finished, or at least very, very, very close to being finished. I assume there's most likely a few little touch-up details that they would like to add, but other than that, the main layout is pretty much done. Now, the plus new gameplay layout. Is he referring to the actual map itself? Because in a few other tweets, it seems like the maps have been reworked a fair amount, and that would obviously affect gameplay. So is that what he is referring to? Or is he referring to a GUI layout, the graphical user interface? Obviously, he's talking about the Battle Arena maps. Most likely, things are going to be changing, because we're getting Battle Arena 2.0, which is making a fair amount of changes to how Battle Arena works. But as he says, teaser images coming soon. How soon? Well, hopefully in a few days, but obviously he hasn't said. So I guess we'll just have to wait for that to figure out what this gameplay layout thing means exactly. New Battle Arena is 5 vs 5 teams, so we automatically get performance boost on all quality settings. But I have spent the FPS on dust and other fancy stuff. However, he continues as responding to someone by saying, "I did say we sped things up. I was joking about the dust though." I assume what he was meaning by dust was like little fancy twirly dust plumes that are like around the map. I mean, honestly, I would kind of like to see that stuff. We do have that on some of the ice maps with the cold air sort of rushing down the valley. So yeah, elements like that. Hopefully some of the other maps are getting things similar to that. But yeah, going back to the original one, he talked about the non-response. So since there are a lot less players in the game, that's a lot less strain on the servers and a lot less strain on people's PCs because they don't have to keep track of every single one of these bots. So the art team has taken this new opportunity to upgrade some of the maps. Now, he has pointed out before that he wants to basically increase the level of quality on all of the maps, more in line to some of the newer maps. We've got, big, massive structures like crashed spaceships or an entire dam on the map. The other older maps don't really have anything like that at all. So it's going to be really interesting to see what we get, because he's made it clear that he definitely wants to add that level of quality. Are we going to be seeing things as big as a giant spaceship? Probably not, but you never know. It would be kind of cool though, we'll just have to wait and see. Now, here is a rather interesting point. In response to a few people, Rick says, "The new maps are smaller than existing ones. There isn't a situation where you don't see another robot unless they are hiding." Very interesting. Which, it does make sense now that, the teams are smaller. It would make sense that the maps themselves are smaller because you'll have less people on them. It's gonna be kind of sad to see the old maps go. Although, they have said before that when it comes to custom games, they do want people to be able to choose some of the maps. Obviously, you can pick whichever map you want. And they have expressed interest in bringing back older maps for use in custom games when it comes to picking which map you want. That's not confirmed though, I'm just saying that they have shown some interest in doing that. But we haven't really gotten any solid confirmation on that, unfortunately. But yeah, smaller maps, it could be okay. I really want to see what they look like, because like I said before, they're getting a quality increase as well, with structures and really cool fancy things. Speaking of really cool fancy things, a possible new skybox? Yes, we've had the same skybox for quite a while, honestly, so it's going to be interesting if this goes through. Rick says, thinking about having 2 suns on the Ice Planet maps. Thoughts? And it seems like a fair amount of people like it, because at the time of posting this, it has 23 likes. Me personally, I'm all for it. It gives something that sort of differentiates the skybox a little bit from the other ones, so yeah, sounds good to me. So, that brings Rick's tweet section to a close, but now we move on to what Mark has to say, the design director of FreeJam. This is something that I'm sure a massive amount of you are going to be very happy about, and at least 59 people are very happy about it. Going to find a way to keep Team Deathmatch and ultimately add more maps to it in Robocraft. If some of you have not been keeping up with the game, a little while back, they were planning on actually removing Team Deathmatch and making it so it was only available when it comes to special brawls, or if you wanted to get a few friends together for custom games, whenever they decide to release custom games, that is. So this is fantastic news, especially for me, because when it comes to those bot review videos, it is a whole lot easier to do them in Team Deathmatch than possibly get stuck into a 18-minute match in Battle Arena. Not only that, I honestly really do like Team Deathmatch, just because it is a very fast-paced game and requires a lot of sort of team fights, which I personally like. Lots of big scrums of one team versus another team. There's no real sort of picking off random people, which, I mean, is fun, don't get me wrong. But I just kind of like the fact that massive team fights are really only in TDM, just because the map is so small. That's an interesting thought. Now that the Battle Arena maps are being made smaller, will that be the case in Battle Arena? Because, yeah, the maps are smaller, and the team sizes are exactly the same. 5v5 for TDM and 5v5 for Battle Arena 2.0. Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see what direction Battle Arena 2.0 takes us. And speaking of Battle Arena 2.0, doing some internal experiments in Battle Arena 2.0 on changing towers to Overwatch-style cap points, so focusing more on fighting and zone domination. So I think this one actually sounds pretty cool, just because having to aim up at towers all the time is just not really all that fun when you get jumped from somebody behind you just because, you know, you had to focus your vision on clearing this line of crystals. So this way, it's going to be a bit more active for both members. Both of them are going to be obviously very alert and will most likely fire as soon as they see you, rather than hopefully picking you up on radar if somebody spotted you. But more often than not, especially nowadays, you'll just get murdered by some sort of Tesla bot with really no time to react. So yes, I am kind of looking forward to these new cap points. At the very least, it's going to be a massive mix-up to the game, which is something we haven't had too long when it comes to a main mode. In fact, this is really going to make the game a whole lot different. Hence why they're calling it Battle Arena 2.0, I guess. It's not, you know, an update to Battle Arena. It is literally the rebirth of Battle Arena, I guess you could call it. Though I'm not entirely sure what they mean by Overwatch-style cap points, because I know the cap points in Overwatch, they do have sort of checkpoints, I guess you could say. Like, once you've stood in it for long enough, it'll sort of cycle up, and then it'll sort of get to this arrow marker. And then if all of your team is forced out at that point, then you will not lose any progress past this arrow. Like, it'll go down, but it won't go any farther past the arrow. And that's something we already have in Robocraft, but that's in elimination mode. Because in elimination mode, it's the exact same thing. There are certain bars, and once you fill up a bar, the bar won't go any further down past that point. Obviously though, in elimination mode, 1, nobody really caps the point because it's more fun to eliminate everyone, hence the name of the mode. And 2, capping those kind of points takes way too long. So my guess here is they're going to be using the same code from those elimination cap points, but they're most likely going to be lowering the time to cap significantly. That's just a little speculation on my part, so take that with a grain of salt, of course. Unless I'm kind of missing something here. I mean, I do play Overwatch, so I don't know. Now, we have a follow-up to that tweet, tweeted out the next day. New cap points work really well. Battle Arena 2.0 really starting to come together now. Cannot wait to start talking about it. So this most likely confirms that we are switching from towers and getting cap points. So I'm quite curious, what do you guys think of that change? Is it something that is going to get you to play more or less Battle Arena? Is it a positive change or a negative change, do you think? I personally think it is a more positive change because it's going to focus on capping and attacking the enemy rather than just standing under a giant umbrella shooting up. But I don't know, that's just my opinion. Let me know yours down below. So, this has been a rather interesting video. A fair amount of news has arisen. Of course, thoughts and opinions on anything I talk about here is appreciated down below. I do read everything, even though I don't normally respond to all of them. Just because, you know, I am a rather busy person, unfortunately. I wish I had time to respond to everything, but alas, I do not. So, with that, the video is now coming to a close. I, of course, have been the Awesome Soul. I thank you so very much for watching, and I will see you next time. Take care.